Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, Christine, getting your last thoughts down. This is kind of like Final Jeopardy. We should have the Jeopardy music. Da, da, da,
Yes.
Want to welcome everyone today. This is something that I started a couple of years or so ago, looking at a year in review on LinkedIn. And I call it The Good, Bad, and Ugly because it's one of my favorite spaghetti movie westerns. Clint Eastwood had that title. And every year what we do is we go back and we look at the good, bad, and the ugly, and we look to see what's happened since then. And that I'd be curious to know what other people have to say on the stream. I know there's a lot of these end of the year lists that we all have, and so that's definitely part of it. So what I wanted to do is just to start right off by welcoming you back, Christine.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're one of those unfortunate has to work this week.
Thanks for having me. Yes, and this is a little reprieve from work, right?
So I'm going to just say right off the bat, I looked at my list from last year, and I'm having a look down here. The bad and the ugly is still pretty much the same, which kind of goes to show you kind of where LinkedIn's thinking is. Just to let the audience know, the ugly I'm looking down here is the spam was a big ugly last year. We all know about that. The idea that LinkedIn help really isn't so helpful anymore, and the fact that they don't communicate. And then the other thing, which I definitely want to talk about right off the bat, is the LinkedIn giveth and taketh away. They're giving things and taking things away. And I know.
You know what, Ken? I noticed that they would okay, it's introduced 8/22, and then it's gone 6/23. And I'm like, it wasn't even a whole year, and you tried it, and then you took it away. So giveth and take it away. That's exactly what you're saying. And they did that with several different options.
So what are some of the options that you feel most frustrated, disappointed, sad that were things that they had taken away?
I know that we have talked several times, and connection request is really big for you. And although it's big for me, I think from an HR standpoint as well as a job seeker standpoint, because in my heart of hearts, I'll always be a job seeker, and I'll always be fighting for job seekers. But working in HR, I think that the whole skills assessment thing is really, really irritating to me. To be able to have it, to take it away and then claim HR, hey, you have to hire based on skills and not on degrees and not on blah, blah. But how are we supposed to know from an HR standpoint what skills you have? And we still are following that 6 to 9 second rule, and you're not going to see any skills whatsoever because you're taking all those skills and badges and whatnot away. So that is really hard from both sides to, as a job seeker, to show and tell people that you have these skills and prove that you have them with a badge. LinkedIn took all that stuff away. And then it's really kind of convoluted, I think.
So welcome, 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 Joey. We just actually started the conversation about the good, bad, and the ugly. The other, I just want to put out a couple of good things because we all just say this right off the bat. What I love very much, and I mean these are unfortunately premium things, is I love the fact that now we can have the call to action profile buttons are really good. Changes to the newsletter. But I think the thing I love more than anything else, and it's a good thing, and I didn't say it in the past, and I'll say it again, is all the great people I've met in the past year on LinkedIn. There's such an intangible to that, and that's what this platform's been all about. And we can talk about all the good functions and things, but nothing beats networking. And I remember you and I, Christine, we met years ago on a post. I'm trying to think where you and I first met, Joey. It might have been on a post also as well, but we've become a network.
Clubhouse.
What?
We met at Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead. And which is now coming up, I think, on 3 years. Just goes to
right around the start of COVID,
So looking at the past year, Joy, anything that really comes to mind in terms of good, bad, ugly things? I mean, I just want us to be a very free-form discussion. I mean, it affects different people different ways. I'm personally a little bit with the personalized connection request limit. That kind of boggles my mind a little bit. I think the other part, spam is still a spam is still a spam. And I've now gone a little bit full circle on collaborative articles. I'm officially now off the collaborative articles gravy train after a couple things the last couple of weeks. So what about you?
I have been turned off by all of the bots. I've been turned off by all of the connection requests. I've been turned off by all of the what seems to be automated requests, and
Mhm.
I just all these photos of young women who claim to be wanting to be part of my network. I'm sorry, I'm from New York, man. I'm very skeptical, right? You say good morning. You say good morning to me. I got to think to myself, do I owe you money? Why are you saying good morning to me, right? And so now, granted, that could be that could be a bad thing, right? I
Right.
could be missing out on opportunities, but you know what? There's 8 billion people on this planet. A billion of them are on LinkedIn. If I don't respond to these 15 or 25 good-looking women, at least what their photos pretend to be, I
Mhm.
think I'll be all right. So, but it's a nuisance for nothing
Yeah.
else.
So I want to do some call outs here. Douglas Cole, happy holidays. Michelle Daly, we worked together at Bed Bath. We are, kind of remember those days. Mary Fane Brandt, the best thing is the connections we made through this platform. And I do want to call out something that Thomas said, Christine, to what you said. You can find the answers to the skills assessment via an online search. But it was too, and he thinks, I'm not sure he's wrong, it was too difficult for LinkedIn to stay on top of the relevancy of current skills assessments. I mean, I will tell you, a lot of people were upset about this, which I honestly was not too upset about, and that was removing video. I have never been a super video person, but a lot of people got really upset about that. And I know there's been a lot of pushback. My feeling is if you have video, there's other ways to show video besides behind your image. And I think that would be something worth it for me. But I really don't understand the communication, the lack of communication aspect to this. I used to say until I was blue in the face to LinkedIn people to listen, just have an audio event, just get together, let's have a chat.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be this free form 300 person dog and pony show, but they don't want that. So now what do we do about it?
The other thing that I was a little caught off guard by was LinkedIn's ability took it away again from an HR standpoint to advertise jobs. And if you had 10 people apply for a job, then it was automatically taken off your post. So it limited you to those 10 people, which is great because you reached 10 more people than you had if you didn't, advertise or whatever. But at the same time, if you can't afford a LinkedIn recruiter and you can't afford, because you're in a small company, to advertise those jobs to pay LinkedIn, yeah, it's a moneymaker thing, but at the same time, we're trying to get people back to work. So I can kind of see both sides of that, but it may impact me as a small business in the future. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out.
I think the communication aspect works in many ways. For example, when you flag something as spam or you block and report it, there is no mechanism specifically that LinkedIn, I think, can really make a determination. You get this doesn't go against our terms and conditions and things. That doesn't meet our criteria, but of course it meets the criteria, and that's probably because of the way that the functionality is set up. There is nothing in it to be set up to reflect that it is whatever their definition of spam is. And I think it's a very simple thing to fix that. Whether they're going to or not is something else. Now, Frank Perez should introduce the ability to report duplicate fake profiles. A lot of us have done this. We have reported the profiles. The problem is LinkedIn doesn't do anything with it, or if they do something with it, they don't let the audience know, which is kind of a frustration. I mean, I really, we all mean well for LinkedIn. And as trainers, we have started to say this again and again and again. We love it. We love LinkedIn. We love LinkedIn. We love LinkedIn. But it's become very much a hierarchy, paid versus non-paid.
Well, it also has become I'm not an expert in LinkedIn by any stretch of the imagination. I never professed to be one. It's like learning another language. There are so many levels within LinkedIn where you can just start clicking on buttons and go down to different levels. And, unless you spend the time every day learning these levels, you may be missing out. I suspect you are missing out. But there may be things that are just, they're not necessary, like your collaborative articles you referred to, Ken, right? It's like there may be levels which we can just ignore, but you don't know. I don't know what I don't know, right? So
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Everything that you're saying, Joey. I mean,
right.
You don't know what you don't know, and sometimes that's okay.
Right, but there's only so many hours in my day, like
Exactly.
everybody else's. I'll grant you that, right? But I don't know. First of all, I don't have the time to sit at a laptop. I don't have the time to type away. I don't have the I have the time. I don't have the patience.
Well, think about it this way. When LinkedIn rolled out, when I was first on LinkedIn to now, from a functionality standpoint, general functionality, it really hasn't changed as much. I mean, it looks different, but the drop downs and all that are pretty much still the same.
Okay.
And think about other platforms that you've seen evolve over the years. They have changed to some extent. Now, some of that functionality has gone to mobile. Some of that functionality has gone away. Some of that function, I mean, that is unfortunately, in my opinion, and those of others, just the function of the platform in general. They just put text on top of text, content on top of content, because there is no real testing set up that way. And to do that would require money, something that people don't really want to spend. At least Microsoft doesn't want to spend it there. Now, Michelle, who was in charge of QA and the like, and a senior manager at Bed Bath, can definitely speak to this. There isn't enough communication on the removal. Well, there is totally no communication on the removal. Thanks to all of us, we let people know before it comes out, because they don't make that announcement until after we've all shared it. How LinkedIn would improve the communication of feature highlights, that is a question we have asked for many, many years.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the basic answer is, as someone who can do a best guess, they operate in silos there. One doesn't know what the other is doing. And I think that the only way LinkedIn can really survive in the future is to eliminate a lot of the functionality. They're trying to do too much, in my opinion, whether they have to have a separate platform or do it on mobile, because there's just too much stuff going on there now, which makes it too hard to find stuff.
Well, that's what I was getting at, is that
exactly
they're through no fault of its own, it's growing by leaps and bounds, and so it's trying to please everybody. The problem is, if you try to please everybody, you start pissing off everyone. You start
think about Amazon. You've got all different apps for Amazon that you can get, all different things, all different functionality. So you could break LinkedIn out to a separate thing for job seekers on mobile, different from, let's say, engagement or something. I mean, there are ways to do it, but it involves kind of thinking it through, because people have different needs for it.
We were talking before, right at the start, Joey, about how LinkedIn giveth and then LinkedIn taketh away. I'm wondering if the whole reason that they do that is because they are experimenting with what is popular and what's not so popular, and what's going to get used and what nobody really cares about, or not enough of their clientele care about over the billion owners of a LinkedIn profile.
And funny you say it. So I don't know if this is analogous, but I look at professional sports, and I love watching sports. I love participating in sports, but I'm at the point now. Not at the point now. It's been a while. I mean, I look at these professional athletes. They are coddled. They are babies. They make $1 gazillion an hour, and they forgot when they were 10 years old, and they looked up to Roger Staubach, Lynn Swan, right? They forgot when they looked up to Mickey Mantle, right? They forgot when they were young and wet behind the ears. And so, you fast forward now and you look at these athletes, these sports programs, these conglomerates, right? I've always felt, and I know it'll never happen, but man, what a great experiment this would be, ladies and gentlemen. On Sunday, we're not going to the game. We're staying home. We're not buying your tickets. We're not buying your hot dogs. We're not buying your jerseys. That would send a message. But we're not collectively, as a society, willing to do that. There were people who were going to say, "Screw that! I'm going to the game." Right? So okay.
But here's the thing: we are not the main product on
No.
LinkedIn. We are not. The product on LinkedIn are all the advertisers. They're all the people that have the recruiter seats.
Yeah.
We are the users.
Just like Joey said, it's whatever's making the money. That's
Right, but if
the
we don't-
number
but
one
my point-
reason.
But here's my point: if we don't show up, if tomorrow we decide when we wake up we're not logging on to LinkedIn,
Right.
and the 1 billion of us do that, I know it'll never happen. But imagine the message that would convey to the powers to be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just that, the almighty dollar takes root and takes hold, and all right, whatever.
Yeah. I think that goes to your point, Ken. Collaborative articles and being so popular when they first rolled out, and then people that were contributing to them kind of stepping back and saying, you know what, this isn't a priority. I have other priorities, and I'm going to move forward with those and kind of not participate in collaborative articles.
There are two suggestions we made that never got anywhere. We
Right.
said, how can we create our own collaborative articles? Maybe we have some good ideas for collaborative articles.
Right.
That didn't come about.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also said, what is the criteria for determining who gets a badge?
Oh, well, that's just all over the place. We know that.
No, but when we went to LinkedIn, we were very careful.
Yes.
We said what we wanted to say
Mm-hmm.
in a positive way. And we
Yes.
knew what was going on. See,
Mm-hmm.
I love being at LinkedIn. I loved it. I enjoy it and all that stuff. But I also know what I'm getting into. And I think, sadly, as long as we are just the users here, I mean, you're right, Joey. If we walked away, yes, they would apply. Jobs would still be out there. Advertising would be out there. But the platform, the only way you really make a difference is if you all had a coordinated effort to reach out to them. And I mean, now when you look at LinkedIn in general, LinkedIn can do no wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, as Frank says, and it's true, the problem with collaborative articles, like everything else on LinkedIn, is it's not well thought out how it's going to be processed. And even knowing who's doing what when. I mean, if you took away my badge tomorrow, I would not be heartbroken. I really, really wouldn't be. I want to earn something, but at the same time, I want other people. I don't even know how to have people be able to do their own collaborative articles. I want to create my own. I want to have an ability to have my own brand. Whatever. I mean, I'm end of the year stuff. I think the challenge that we all have here is we love LinkedIn. We want to train people on LinkedIn, but at the same time, we can't keep up with things to even train people because every day we do something that's gone away. And I think, looking at some of the positives this year, the positives that I look at on LinkedIn are all related to networking, but they're not specific functionality. I love Kevin Turner to death. No, not literally. Does a great job with the updates and things. The average person out there is going to have a very hard time reconciling how all those changes matter to that person and to each other until they really think about the platform. I mean,
that's one of the biggest complaints of LinkedIn that I hear about is that I don't have time to keep up with the additions and the subtractions and what I can do and what I can't do. And, I just want to get on there and get off of there and get on there and maybe network with one or two people and get off of there and to go through every single tab and then the drop downs and what you can do to make yourself sparkle is a lot harder for those people that are the beginners that are just kind of doing the bare minimum to get through the day because they have another whole life outside of LinkedIn.
I'm smiling a little bit what Thomas says about most of the people LinkedIn who are starting out. They're not interns, but they're starting out. And they don't have the institutional knowledge that a lot of people have there. And I wouldn't be shocked if there wasn't much documentation about it. the
I think
easiest
Thomas
way,
hit the nail on the head
yeah,
there.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, ideally, you should have, when you're building a platform, whatever the platform is, you have an understanding of it, but then you have to figure out when is it too big. And when it's too big, you have to be willing to accept that you can take stuff away and put it somewhere else because there's just too much stuff there now. I don't even know where half the stuff is.
So, okay, how would you go forward with that in your ideal world? Would you create a different platform for all those things, or would you just take everything away, or what would you do? Like, how do you envision it?
Well, first thing I would do is I would, if I was and had the ability to talk to LinkedIn, I would ask them in a very general way, what are you looking to do? Let's forget about what's out there, monetarily versus not. If your free version is going to offer some things versus premium, let's separate what those things are. And then where do they make more sense? On a website, on mobile, on both? What is the journey going to be? What can and can't you do? I have no doubt there's ChatGPT or AI has a lot to do with this now. I mean, you can have on AI, you can have LinkedIn reply back with messages to people. You can have LinkedIn reply back with all different things. That's not necessarily a bad thing as a starting point. But my concern is you build on top, on top, on top, on top, on top, and it just becomes too unwieldy. I mean, I'll ask you a question. When you go to a site like Amazon, do you find it easy to navigate that site if you need to find stuff? Generally, if you need to check up an order or do searching and stuff, or is it overwhelming?
I think it's overwhelming in the sense that it's kind of like Google. Whoever is at the
Right.
top of that page, you're probably just clicking those top 15 that are on that first page, but you're never going to page
So that brings
12
up a
to
point.
see anything.
So
And
maybe,
Amazon's kind of the same way.
or maybe that goes to the point that when you're in the feed, maybe people will be paying more to be in the feed more often or something like that, and you're not going to know that. Or maybe it's based on AI that content comes up the way it does. I mean, I'm just going to just things to think about. I have no doubt. I mean, we all complain about engagement. We all complain about impressions, whatever they are. I've given up trying to figure it all out, but I have no doubt that it's related to other things that I have no control over. And I have no doubt that it's related to AI. And there's no doubt related to things I have, maybe I have to pay for and maybe not. I don't know. But I think that is the way of what's going to happen.
So, all right, going back with all of that, I mean, what is your opinion on the limit of connection requests? What is LinkedIn's goal for having a connection request limitation? Is it to get more people on premium? Is it to get people that aren't on LinkedIn so that they participate? Is it to, what is their method to their madness? Because we all know that there's some kind of method.
I think they don't know. To be honest, I think what they say they want to do in theory is not a bad idea because they think it's going to cut down on spam and it's going to cut down on this because people send connection requests that are just cut and paste, but that's not the method to use. If you wanted to use that methodology, then how about as you send a personalized connection request back and if you get accepted, then you get one given back to you. So let's say you have 10 a month. I send 10 out and one gets approved, I get that one back. And it's on some ratio like that instead of a hard and fast limit. Or I don't know. I mean, I don't know I'm only guessing at this. I think selfishly they probably do want to make money, but most people are not going to pay the extra money for it. They'll find other ways to do it. I'm getting a lot of connection requests now that in the old days, like a month ago, there would have been a personalized connection request, right. But they're not sending it now because they can't. Now, I know that based on their profile and they're decent people and the like, but if I were to reply back with them or message them, if they don't have the ability to get a message, then I'm just going to have to make a decision to connect. So I just think what LinkedIn honestly needs to need people from our generation to really be part of the solution. Otherwise, in time, LinkedIn will be replaced in some way, shape, or form with something else. You're not going to replace LinkedIn, but you're going to come up with something that serves the needs of part of the audience here. I guarantee. because there are snippets out there now that do different things on LinkedIn. You know,
I haven't done any research as to what the breakdown of age group is on LinkedIn. Are you familiar with
what?
that? You know, generation X, Y, Z,
Well,
millennials. Like, do you have?
I would
a
love to
breakdown?
know. I would love to know how they may engage differently on the platform.
Right.
I think most of the people on the platform of a certain age use the platform differently.
Exactly.
I do think that LinkedIn does not cater to us, which is, I think, the first thing to acknowledge. It does not cater to us the way it caters to those that are younger, just by its nature. So if there was like a gray LinkedIn, let's say, or maybe a LinkedIn thing with the gray instead of the blue or something, or like an AARP type LinkedIn, or an older, that would probably be a great niche. And that would become an evolving change, because you have different needs at our age. You know,
You do, but then would you still get the
I don't know.
mentor
You're asking me a
ability?
question.
Would you get the learning ability from your network, or being able to expand your network, because these are true thought leaders that have knowledge in some particular area, and that connection could be invaluable, not because of their age, but because they have so much to bring to the table and you could learn from them.
I don't know, but there's nothing to stop. There's nothing. I mean, a lot of the content in the learning section there, any one of us could probably replicate in some way, shape, or form. Or you could probably go onto YouTube and get a lot of it.
Ken, I think you brought up a good point before in that, and I think this is with almost any app, really, or just anything you're trying to learn in general, is that what are you trying to accomplish? Like, what's the point as you enter into an app, right? Or you click on an app,
right.
Why are you going there, right? And it could be one of many different reasons, but I think that at least starts to help you become focused and keep you on track, if you will, right? And so if you're looking for example, if you're looking to see who works at a certain company, and I know you've said this before, it's a great data mining tool if you know how to use the tool, right? And you can really quickly find 15 people who are probably related, if not to you, to certainly connections of yours. And that's a great place to start. If you're looking for work or looking to get into that company, you could save a lot of cycles and a lot of aggravation just by knowing how to do that. But you got to know that's why you're doing it.
Yeah, I think the analogy is LinkedIn has to be this high-level parent, and all these different these small applications are like subsidiaries, but you can't put it in one place. It's impossible. I mean, shouldn't have to. You know, I just want to, again, listening, to Tom, again, I don't think LinkedIn has forgotten about their true mission. I just don't think they know what their mission is. I'll go back even further. I think the mission has changed over time. I think the initial mission was a really great idea. Having this digital Rolodex, linking in with people, that is great. And its core, it is an amazing tool. But when you start getting into the monetary aspect, and you're looking at it from a sales perspective, and you're looking at it from paying for jobs, and you're looking for priorities, and you're looking for all the data, then it loses. It's almost like when the internet first came out. The idea of the internet was an amazing tool. Search for anything. It's great. It's in one place. Well, now anything and everything goes on the internet, on Google.
But isn't that the purpose of LinkedIn? I mean, yeah, it's not for our benefit. Networking is king. And that's why many of us will go to LinkedIn as a social media tool to use it to network with others, whether it is finding out what people have to say or making those connection requests or whatever it happens to be. But LinkedIn's goal is to stay in business. And how do they stay in business? By making money. And it's always going to be about money. Yeah, that's really nice that you can network, but I don't really care about that. I want to make money. And so they're walking that fine line between helping you to network and making money.
Well, and that's been the chicken or the egg thing.
Yeah,
there is no question. There are great tools for networking, and LinkedIn is going to make money. but the basic premise of connecting on LinkedIn shouldn't be minimized for for other points. I mean, yes, people might pay a small amount of money each month to take advantage of LinkedIn, but let's say you're out of work. Can you get a stipend for 6 months if you prove that you're out of work, much like the military gets a year? Something like that. Is it in their best interest monetarily? No, but think about the goodwill. Now, again, there's goodwill.
Absolutely. And I don't think anyone's thought about goodwill until recently. And that's something that they definitely should be taking into consideration.
I mean, I'd love to get other thoughts from people as well. I see Linda Brubaker. Love to see a big push for people to enable. I accept messages from everyone, and I do, Linda, and I made sure about that. I think the other thing which is great about if you join groups now, you can message people in the groups for free without the limitation. But what I really want more than anything else, and I feel like I've said this for 3, 4, 5 years, is I want better communication. I want better communication in general. You don't have to tell me the day something rolls out, but give me some idea as to what's coming up. Don't do a product launch 3 months after about things we've known about 3 months before. There's no sense in doing that. Send me communications. I used to get emails all the time about things. And I don't need a job alert, but it's personalizing, as Michelle called it, it's personalization. I would love the ability to create my own timeline, my own everything, my own profile, my own this and that. Give me that opportunity. Why should I look different from everyone else? I'm actually staring a bit on creator mode now. I hate to say, I will keep creator mode on for a little while, but between the hashtags, which may not be working, and the bells, which may not be wrong, and all the other stuff, it's like I get a headache from it. I really do.
I wonder, Linda, and having that open messaging. I think that was one of those drop downs that we were talking about earlier. Is if you have it on, then great, and you can have unlimited characters and all that. But if you are receiving a connection and you don't have it on because you didn't know that you were supposed to have it on, and the benefits of having it on, then you're not going to have it on because you didn't know. And that would go back to Joey's response to you. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And that's like, can we do something about that from the LinkedIn side so that people don't need to know those things? Is just an automatic. And, just taking it one step further. I agree.
Yeah, I think for me, the vision is to see what else can be replacing parts of LinkedIn. LinkedIn will never go away. It's like Microsoft. It's like Facebook/Meta. It's like sort of like that thing that used to be Twitter, whatever it is. But if you can parse some of it out, and you can have platforms like that, all you need is a niche to do that. Now, I'm a Don Quixote person. I love to think about this stuff. I don't have anything close to the money or the expertise, but if anyone's listening out there and you guys want to make a go of it, Christine, Joey, and I'm sure others would love to be part of it. Because all we're looking for is to do. I find it frustrating. I think this is how this is going to end with LinkedIn with the connection request. I think of a bunch of us at these companies like Lee Harrison and the like, do a pushback from a company perspective. That might make a difference. Because individually, there's limits to what we can do, but corporately, there's something else. I know there will be discussions about that in the future because there's no reason to do it. There's got to be some workaround to do that, even if it's extending the amount of free from a month to 3 months or 6 months.
No, absolutely, and that's what you want. You want people to not only get on LinkedIn, but to use LinkedIn. Just like we've been saying for many, many years, see who else is on and make those connection requests and network and find that mentor or mentors so that you can become that better worker, that better person, because there's all kinds of content on LinkedIn.
I think for me, what I've been pushing a lot of the discussions I've had is the reason you connect with, take advantage of your second connections as much as possible. I really do hope that LinkedIn does listen to it, because there's so many of these discussions that are going on now in all different rooms. Andy Fund and I, we've had a bunch of conversations about this. I know that Kevin Turner is in another thing right now. And we all love LinkedIn to death, but we all get very frustrated. Frustrated because we can't do more for people that need the help. Now, Christine, you're coming from an HR perspective, which is very interesting, because I didn't realize you can't post jobs anymore there at all.
Yeah. If you don't have, like, if you wanted to post something on your profile and not through that LinkedIn recruiter, again, the goal for LinkedIn is to make money and for you to get a LinkedIn recruiter account. So your free job posting, which used to be free, is only for the first 10 applicants. And when you get that, the attempts to go to the hiring member, now you have to pay to post any jobs. And so I think that for a job seeker, that could be detrimental, because if they didn't know about the company and they're just scrolling along and, hey, wow, that's perfect, it's up my alley, they can't even apply, and it's forcing them to use Indeed or Monster or Zip or whatever it happens to be. And I feel like it's getting the job seekers off of the platform. So it's a money thing, but yet it's it seems kind of detrimental in that respect as well. I don't know if that's, I don't think that's a plus for job seekers.
So this is a good point. Making open messaging the default setting for premium members.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yes.
way, if people want to restrict their message, they would have to.
I agree.
The whole idea of settings in general, the settings change all the time. And if you don't, I have changed settings quite a bit over time because they're always changing on me. What I would like what I would really hope would happen is that there would be some mechanism that, at the very least, if premium members had access to certain things or have an understanding or had a point person or something, because a lot of the questions that I get, and I'm sure that you all get, we would love to be able to help, but we can't get to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even from the perspective of understanding how some of the functionality works, there is no user guide out there for any of this stuff. We are the user guides. We are the trainers. And again and again, I get the same questions, and people don't know how to find the information. And even having, it's ironic because LinkedIn sends out so many newsletters on its behalf every week for so many different things. And it just seems to me that they could easily, in the future, make a decision and just cut the platform down and move some of it to mobile. I don't know.
Interesting.
You know, this is the 21st century. Mobile is not like this new thing like it was 25, 30 years ago, where it was like an afterthought. It may be that they don't have the people know how to do it. I don't know. I mean, I would love to see, I mean, I hear the traffic, more traffic comes from mobile than desktop anyway. So what does that tell you? But, and this is what I actually just did now as a reminder. I actually downloaded my LinkedIn full archive yesterday for the whole year. I do it all the time because I don't even know anymore what's in my downloads. So I got the question asked of me, so I wanted to check. I think as we get into to 2024, we have the same thoughts that we've always had about LinkedIn. It's a great platform. We do want it to be successful. We just want it to be successful for everyone. And there should be a place for free versus premium. If you're going to offer things to people for free, don't take it away once you give it. Don't make like a bait and switch thing, which is what this seems to me to be. It was a bait and switch with the connections. At least look at the history of the person who's been connecting. Look at the person. Look at how successful they've been in the past. I got a connection request from 2 recruiters today that had 0 connections. And I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me.
I guess you were the first, huh, Ken?
But what do I do with that? Because in theory, everyone has to start somewhere.
That's
my
true.
point.
That's true.
Everyone has to
Right.
start somewhere. So I started on this platform. I connect with people the first time. I had nothing.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be a real impediment to someone, because if you've never been on the platform, you want to send a message or a connection request or something. Again, now you download the activity, and just to let you know, if you go to, and I'll post this in the chat afterward. There's a place you go within your connections. You can export it. I think the challenge is really to define what free is. I mean, if you think about what you're paying for now, with whatever it is, you're paying for a certain amount of free, and you have to pay extra. I mean, it used to be different. I think at its core, I think LinkedIn offers a lot for free. I do. I think the problem is we get used to certain things and they take them away. At least let us know you're taking them away. I wish they'd bring Find Nearby back. I understand why they took it away. I think I would love to have the QR codes more prevalent than they are in one way, shape, or form. I don't know. I mean, now
I think in things like that, where they were, in my opinion, they were ahead of the game for acceptance, the QR code, whereas then we had COVID and menus and everything else were QR codes, and they took it away. And yet I think more people would use them because that's what that is. As opposed to a couple of years ago, they had no idea what it was unless you grew up around that type of thing. So bringing stuff back might be a positive. And I like exactly what Thomas said is a lot of people will download their connections. Who are they connected to and whatnot? And it could be, a really huge report. But if you look at your settings, you will know for sure what is there and what you can do, drop down and change and modify as well. And I think that's wonderful. That's
even the idea of content. If I want to look at something I've written 6 months ago, there's no easy way for me to find it.
Right.
The closest thing I can do is go look and see what had the most engagement. But I would love the ability to know in some way, shape, or form easily what I've done. And that goes back to managing our profiles and everything else. I mean,
it's almost like Google. You should be, if you can Google something, you should be able to Google it on LinkedIn and find out that article or that newsletter or that post or whatever. And you can't do that now.
Well, the funny thing is,
I don't quite understand that either.
You bring up the search aspect. There's a limited number of searches on basic. So I tell my Lee Hecht Harrison coaches who have the basic that just do searches on Google for LinkedIn profiles. Don't search on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Because it's a workaround. There's workarounds all over.
I say the same. Yes. It's a workaround that's not using your limit.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I want to thank you guys very much for attending. I hope we didn't scare you off too much, LinkedIn. I'm going to be putting together a presentation later on this week with some of my thoughts, and I'm going to go back and look at what I had before from last year. I'm actually taking next week off. It does happen every once in a while. I mean, I had to make a decision either to take today off or take next week off. So I figured after New Year's Day and all the stuff going on, I'm just going to.
Good for you. Good for you. Well deserved.
I suspect we're coming to the point, not yet, not tomorrow, and certainly not next week, where when someone like Ken goes on vacation for a week, he or she can set up a bot or an AI image, right? That's interactive. And that is somehow, based on who you are and what you're all about, it wouldn't take long for that machine to learn you and represent you in your absence. And I'm sure, I know someone is playing with that. They have to be. This is not, I can't be the first one to start this. There's no way.
Well, I'm keeping an eye on you, Ken, and Joey.
I'm going to be here.
Be one of you.
I'm going to be here next week, just not doing the event. I mean, I've just decided I have a lot of stuff going on here at home, and Adam is home, and, exactly. So we're just taking it in. You too, Christine. Great pictures. Joey, have a great day. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Bye.
See you
All
next
right.
year.
Take care.
Bye.
Hasta la vista.